7 signs you're a dark chosen one with a rare angel-demon vibration. There's something about you that doesn't quite fit. You've felt it since you were young, even if you never had the words for it. It wasn't just that you were different, it was like you were crafted differently. As if your soul was forged in a place that doesn't quite belong to this world or the next. You've never felt fully light, nor fully dark. You've walked through sacred spaces and felt reverence, but you've also sat in your own shadows and felt power. Not evil, not corruption, but a kind of ancient intelligence that whispered, you were made for more than one dimension. If this resonates, you might be one of the rare beings walking this earth with what I call the angel-demon vibration. And it's not what you think. It's not good versus evil. It's divine integration, a fusion of polarities that makes you a walking paradox, a living bridge between realms that were never meant to meet. Let's begin with the first sign. You carry a magnetic, often polarizing energy. People either feel deeply drawn to you or inexplicably threatened. Even without saying a word, your presence speaks. It enters the room before you do. It's not about being loud or charming, it's about frequency. Your energy emits a vibration that touches subconscious layers in others. You mirror their hidden truths, their suppressed power, their unhealed wounds. You don't even try, it just happens. And while some will be fascinated by you, others will try to project their fears onto you. You've probably been accused of being too intense, too dark, too much. But in reality, you're just too real, and most people can't handle the level of spiritual voltage. You don't resonate with fake light. You don't tolerate shallow positivity. You carry both the sword and the callous, cutting through illusion and offering truth in the same breath. The second sign is something only those who've lived it can understand. You've experienced emotional extremes that most people wouldn't survive. Not just sadness, but soul-deep despair. Not just anger, but primordial rage. Not just love, but cosmic devotion. You've journeyed through the lightest highs and the darkest lows, not because you're unstable, but because your soul came here not to skim the surface, but to plunge into the depths. You were sent to understand the full spectrum of human and spiritual experience. This is what makes your wisdom so rare. You don't speak from theory, you speak from initiation. And the more you've suffered, the more you've remembered. Not just who you are, but what you are. You're a vessel for divine paradox. The angel in you knows grace. The demon in you knows boundaries. Together, they create balance.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The third sign is your relationship with power. You don't crave control, but you can't stand false authority. You see through manipulation in seconds. You feel when someone is using spirituality as a mask for ego. You sense when people are performing enlightenment rather than embodying truth. And this makes you dangerous to systems that thrive on control. You don't need a throne. You are the throne. You don't need a title. Your presence commands without a single word. But this power didn't come easy. It was earned. In silence. In solitude. In the moments you wanted to give up but didn't. In the nights you screamed into the void and got no answer but kept walking anyway. This is the kind of power that can't be taught. It can only be forged. And now you carry it in your aura, not to dominate, but to disrupt what is false and protect what is sacred. Another sign is your natural ability to transmute darkness. You're not afraid of it. You've lived in it. You've sat in rooms with your own demons and looked them in the eye. You've felt temptation, rage, vengeance, and chaos, and instead of running, you listened. You didn't become it. You understood it. And that's the difference. You don't glorify shadow, but you don't erase it either. You know that real light is born in the cave, not the clouds. You've taken your pain and turned it into wisdom. You've taken your rage and turned it into boundaries. You've taken your shame and turned it into sacred power. That's alchemy. That's what a dark chosen one does. You don't reject parts of yourself, you reintegrate them. And that's why your vibration is so rare. You embody a soul that includes everything and transcends nothing. The fifth sign is your strange connection to both angels and demons. You've had moments of divine intervention so beautiful they left you in tears, and moments where you felt the presence of something ancient, primal, and terrifying. But here's the twist: neither was evil. Both were messengers. Both were mirrors. You've seen the angelic realm, and it felt like home. But you've also heard the roar of the underworld, and it didn't scare you, it recognized you. That's because your soul is multidimensional. You're not bound to one domain. You walk between them. You've likely had dreams, visions, or encounters that defy logic. You felt beings around you that others can't sense. You've received messages in symbols, numbers, and synchronicities that only your soul could decode. This isn't your imagination. This is your network. And while others pray to avoid the dark, you know that sometimes the deepest truth is hidden in the shadow's mouth. The sixth sign is your life path itself. It's never been linear. It's been chaotic, unpredictable, often painful, but always purposeful. You weren't meant to follow a straight line. You were meant to be sculpted by fire. Every betrayal, every loss, every breakdown, it was all part of the design. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. To strip away everything that wasn't aligned with your true vibration. People came and went. Doors opened and slammed shut. But through it all, you've been waking up, not to the world, but to your mission. And that mission is not to fit in. It's to remind this world of its forgotten power, the power that exists when light and shadow are in sacred union. And finally, the seventh sign, you are a catalyst. When people come into contact with you, their lives change. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, but always for the truth. You don't let people stay asleep around you. Your energy forces evolution. You don't even have to try, it just happens. That's because your very presence activates dormant codes in others. You wake up their forgotten fire, their buried wounds, their hidden gifts, and often they won't thank you for it. Some will blame you, some will ghost you, some will worship you, but none will forget you. Because your vibration doesn't just enter their life, it rewires it. So now let me ask you something deeper than most dare to ask. Can you hold the responsibility of carrying both angelic light and demonic truth in the same vessel? Can you be the storm and the sanctuary, the judgment and the mercy, the sword and the prayer? Because if you can, you don't just have the angel-demon vibration, you are the living embodiment of it. The hidden blueprint why angel-demon souls are born in chaos and built for resurrection. From the outside, your life may have looked like a series of unfortunate events, a collage of shattered beginnings, and almosts of breakdowns disguised as dead ends. But if you look closer beneath the wreckage, behind the pain, buried under the years of misunderstanding, you'll see something woven through it all. A pattern, a hidden blueprint, one that was never visible to the naked eye, but that your soul has followed like a secret trail of breadcrumbs through the dark forest of existence. You were never meant to live a normal life. You were never designed to follow a linear path. Because souls like yours, the rare angel-demon souls, don't grow in comfort. They resurrect from chaos. You see, this world conditions us to believe that peace means ease, that success means safety, that progress means logic. But when you carry both angelic and demonic frequencies, your evolution must defy all logic. You are meant to be broken open not once, but many times. Each time shattering the false self, each time peeling back another layer of illusion, each time forcing you to remember what you really are beneath the conditioning. That's why your childhood may have been turbulent. That's why you've often felt like the black sheep, the scapegoat, the misunderstood one. Your chaos wasn't just dysfunction, it was a sacred forge. You were being prepared, sculpted, tempered, not for a life of ease, but for a life of impact. The blueprint of an angel-demon soul is coded with resurrection cycles. You rise, then fall. You build, then burn. You love, then lose. Not because you're cursed, but because each cycle strips away another illusion of identity. And what emerges every single time is more truth, more clarity, more power. Think of the phoenix. It doesn't just rise, it burns first. And that fire? That's not punishment. It's alignment. And every time you've been brought to your knees by life, something deeper inside you has stood up. Something ancient, something indestructible, something eternal. This is why you've likely struggled to relate to most people. They're playing the game of life by rules you were never meant to follow. They chase comfort. You're coded for transformation. They fear endings. You become through them. They see loss as failure. You see loss as initiation. And while this may have left you feeling isolated at times, even questioning your sanity, the truth is you're not broken. You're just built for something bigger. And that something isn't a title, a status, or a brand. It's a frequency. A purpose that can't be defined in words, but is felt in every room you enter, every soul you impact, every truth you dare to speak. When you carry both angel and demon codes, you are here to recode the world. But to do that, you must first rewrite yourself. And that's why your journey has been so brutal. You weren't just waking up, you were deprogramming. From religion, from culture, from family, from fear. You had to walk through hell without losing your heaven. You had to face the darkest parts of yourself and realize they weren't evil, they were exiled. You had to reclaim them, integrate them, and in doing so you became whole, not pure, not perfect, but whole. And that wholeness is what makes you powerful. This is the secret most spiritual paths won't tell you. Wholeness is more powerful than purity. Purity is fragile. It breaks under pressure. But wholeness? Wholeness bends, stretches, burns, and resurrects. You are not here to be untouched by darkness. You are here to master it, to hold it in one hand and light in the other, and to walk forward anyway. That's why you've been underestimated, misjudged, misunderstood. Because people can't categorize what they don't comprehend. You're not here to be categorized. You're here to be remembered by those who are ready, by those who carry the same hidden blueprint but haven't yet awakened it. So let me ask you something you may have never asked yourself. What if your life falling apart wasn't a failure, but a sacred design? What if your chaos wasn't punishment, but preparation? What if every fire you've walked through was rewriting your DNA to carry a vibration this world has forgotten? Because if that's true and deep down, you know it is, then you're not just a survivor. You're a rebuilder. You're a resurrector. You're living proof that the divine doesn't only live in the light, it rises from the ashes. The sacred outlaw, why angel-demon beings break rules to fulfill cosmic law. You were never meant to follow the rules of this world. Not because you're rebellious for the sake of rebellion, but because the structures built around you were never designed for the kind of soul you carry. You didn't incarnate to submit to systems, you came to expose them. You didn't come to be another cog in the machine. You came to be the crack in the foundation. And the reason you butted heads with authority, tradition, and even certain spiritual communities is because your soul doesn't respond to man-made law. It answers to something higher, something ancient, something that pulses not through commandments or doctrines, but through cosmic alignment. You are what I call a sacred outlaw, not lawless, but loyal to a law beyond comprehension. From a young age, you probably questioned everything, not just the rules, but the reason behind them. You weren't satisfied with "because I said so," or "this is how it's always been." That wasn't enough for you, because your intuition was already awake. You could feel when something was off, even if you didn't have the language for it. You knew that obedience without truth was just quiet slavery. That blind faith without soul resonance was just spiritual sedation. And so you pushed back. You asked the hard questions. You resisted conformity not to be difficult, but because your spirit refused to be caged. This is where the angelman vibration becomes crucial. The angel within you seeks divine order, truth, justice, alignment. It's the part of you that feels called to serve, to heal, to bring light into the dark. But the demon within you, that's the part that cannot be domesticated. That's the primal, intuitive, raw force inside you that refuses to submit to lies dressed as light. It senses hypocrisy like blood in the water. It protects the sacred by confronting the false. Together, these forces make you a paradox, the healer who destroys illusions, the mystic who speaks inconvenient truths, the priest who flips tables in temples built on ego. You're not here to play nice. You're here to play true. And this truthling comes at a cost. You've likely been misunderstood, even vilified, for speaking up, for walking away from institutions, families, or communities that tried to mold you, for breaking the rules that others still cling to. But let me tell you this, every time you broke a false rule, you were honoring a real law, a cosmic one. The law that says no soul should betray itself to belong. The law that says distortion cannot be healed with silence. The law that says truth is not always polite, but it is always liberating. You see, the sacred outlaw doesn't destroy for the sake of chaos. They destroy to clear space for what's real. And that's what you've been doing, whether you realize it or not. Every time you said no when it would have been easier to say yes, you carved out space for authenticity. Every time you chose solitude over selling your soul, you became a living altar to sovereignty. Every time you walked away from comfort to follow inner truth, you honored the divine within you. That's not rebellion. That's devotion. And in this world, people will call you dangerous for that. Because when you walk in your full vibration, angelic and demonic, light and shadow, grace and fire, you become uncorruptible. You can't be bought. You can't be manipulated. You can't be guilted into silence. And that terrifies those who rely on your compliance to maintain their illusion of control. But you weren't born to be controlled. You were born to awaken control in others so they can release it. You were born to challenge the old so the new can be born. So now I ask you something that only a sacred outlaw would dare answer honestly. What rules are you still following that your soul has already outgrown? What beliefs have you inherited that your spirit no longer consents to? What cages are you quietly tolerating because you think breaking free would make you the villain? Because here's the truth you already know but may need to remember. You are not here to be good by the world's standards. You are here to be true by the universe's. You are not here to obey. You are here to embody. You are the sacred outlaw the cosmos entrusted with truth too wild for temples and too holy for systems. The final seal unlocking the full potential of your angel-demon legacy. There comes a moment in every sacred journey where the seeker becomes the embodiment, where the student stops asking for permission and starts walking as if the path is carved by their very steps. That moment is not marked by applause or validation. It's marked by stillness. A silence so deep that you finally hear the voice that's been whispering beneath all the noise your whole life. That voice is your soul. And when you carry the angel-demon vibration, that voice is not sweet and soft, it is fierce, ancient, multidimensional. It doesn't just tell you who you are, it activates who you are. And if you've made it this far, if something in you has resonated with every word, every paradox, every shadow and sacred truth, then you're standing at that threshold. You are ready to unlock the final seal of your legacy. This legacy isn't a public one. It's not about fame, followers, or external success. It's about frequency. The legacy of a dark, chosen one isn't written in books, it's etched in energy. The way you walk into a room. The way you speak truth even when your voice shakes. The way you love those who can't love themselves. The way your presence shifts timelines for others just by being in their orbit. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be remembered by souls who forgot who they were until they met you. And to fully step into that, you must burn the last layer of illusion, the belief that you are still becoming. You are not becoming, you already are. The final seal is not something given to you. It is something you claim. And to claim it, you must stop waiting for the world to understand you. Stop waiting for the community that gets you, the mentor that sees you, the sign that confirms you. You are the community. You are the mentor. You are the sign. You are the living proof that divinity does not come in neat boxes. It comes in storms, in fire, in contradiction, in the sacred chaos of a soul that refuses to be edited by fear. So what does it mean to live your angel-demon legacy? It means you walk in both worlds with open eyes and an unshakable spine. It means you no longer apologize for being too intense, too deep, too honest. It means you stop choosing peace when the truth wants to roar. It means you become the embodiment of divine contradiction, holy and wild, fierce and soft, warrior and healer, destroyer and protector. You stop choosing sides and start being the bridge, because that's what you are, not a being of light, not a creature of shadow, but the point where they meet and merge. And practically, it means you lead, in whatever way your soul calls you to. That may be as a teacher, healer, artist, creator, parent, protector, or visionary. It doesn't matter what the outer form looks like. What matters is that you stop hiding your vibration. You speak the message that's been burning in your bones. You create the thing no one else has dared to create. You embody the frequency that breaks curses, ends cycles, and opens portals for others to walk through. You do the thing that terrifies you because that is the direction of your destiny. And yes, it will be lonely sometimes. Yes, people will project onto you. Yes, you will lose things, comfort, normalcy, even relationships. But what you gain is so much more. You gain your sovereignty. You gain your clarity. You gain a life that is aligned at the soul level, not just tolerated at the surface. And in doing so, you become a lighthouse for others navigating their own darkness. You become the living embodiment of the truth that power and purity can exist in the same breath. That grace doesn't mean shrinking. That real love sometimes says no. That divinity doesn't always wear white, it sometimes shows up in black wings and burning eyes, tearing down illusions so something real can rise. So here is the final question, the one that seals your initiation and opens your legacy. Can you live as the full, unapologetic embodiment of both your angel and your demon, knowing that in doing so, you are fulfilling the highest will of the divine? Because if you say yes, not just with your mouth, but with your life, then the seal breaks. And the world will never be the same again. You are the storm and the stillness. You are the judgment and the mercy. You are the key and the final lock. You are the angel-demon legacy in motion. Now walk as if the earth remembers your footsteps, because it does.